Thank you. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank my mom and my dad who are here tonight. I get table 19, mom, dad, and without whom I would not be standing here tonight. Thank you to all the visible trans people who have come before me, who have endured countless days of harassment and discrimination in broad daylight. And a special thanks to the trans women of color who are pushed out of their homes and into the margins. They're pushed into the criminal system, into addiction, and into the arms of men who violently flex their masculinity when it comes into question. We're pushed into sex work because it was the only work that we could get. It was the only place where we were told we were beautiful and had value. For all the trans people that are burned by the magnifying glass that has such a high visibility, and that high visibility brings, and for those who still feel invisible, I accept this award, and I dedicate this award to you. Thank you. This is so full circle. When I quit my job right here in Chicago at the Trans Life Center, I and many of the other trans employees that I worked with at the time felt tokenized and silenced by our salaries and perceived positions of power. I didn't have a master's degree. Hell, I still don't have a bachelor's degree. I know, Dad, I'm working on that. I'm just a little busy right now, and I promise I'll get back on that. But seriously, I know firsthand that it was a struggle for them to hire me, even though I came with a resume that screamed resilience. It was still hard. When I finally got the job and was tasked to develop an employment program specifically to address the challenges that trans people faced with regards to employment, my recommendations were rejected. With the focus on metrics, I saw a program that was continuing to underestimate what is possible for trans women of color. Week after week for almost 2 years, I sat face to face with trans and gender nonconforming job seekers, some who had more privilege than others, who had degrees or resumes that provided options. The others were offered a safety and sanitation training so that they could get into food service. Now, I have nothing against food service. We are privileged to have people like Michaela Michelson, who is a trans woman of color and a CEO of Pollo Locos in California, and she proudly hires trans women and gives them job training. I myself worked in food service, waiting tables for about 6 years, and it was some of the hardest work. I experienced daily harassment on the job and ultimately was fired for being trans. Now, this was quite a few years ago, so thankfully to the work of many of us in this room and many of our allies, things are much different now and they're evolving. But I wanted to give a different opportunity. I wanted to offer my community something different, a different experience. So I made one of the most challenging decisions to quit my job with no life raft tied to the boat. But then Jay-Z's lyrics started cycling in my head. How could you falter when you the rock of Gibraltar? I had to get off the boat so I could walk on water. This ain't no tall order, this is nothing to me. Difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. Well, it took a little more than that. It took about 2 years, a little over 2 years. And I have done what many has insisted was impossible. I wanted to send a very clear message that no one determines my value but me. And that no matter what the scoreboard looks like, winning is a state of mind. I'm a winner, baby. Y'all know mahogany, yeah. Y'all got that. Through TransTech alone, we have placed over $100,000 into the hands of my community to show proof that you are valuable and that you are worthy of the investment. Miller Coors, where you at? Thank you to Miller Coors, who is also being honored here tonight. To date, you are our only corporate sponsor. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I seriously hope that other companies start to follow your lead, and your act of solidarity, really, it has meant the world to us. And thank you to HRC for this award tonight, and also for your work in beginning to invest in TransTech as well. Some of the footage that you saw on the screen actually was from a hands-on public education and media training project where trans people were actually paid to run the cameras and the lights, to edit the video, and to amplify their voices. We need more opportunities like this. Too often we have allowed organizations to prioritize marriage equality and tell us to wait our turn. Thank you, HRC, for not being one of those voices telling us to wait our turn when it comes to public accommodations. This is really critical now more than ever, especially on the horizon of a Trump administration. This issue is about more than including public accommodation protections for transgender people tactically in a state-level measure, but it's about centering the individuals that are most impacted strategically. And as a Black trans woman, I bring a lived experience and expertise that shouldn't just be celebrated, but consulted. Our voices need to be included on goals, on strategy, and on tactics. Really, on everything, on every aspect. Nothing about us without us, period. Because human rights aren't just gay rights. Human rights are the rights of those at Standing Rock. Human rights is standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, with trans people, with undocumented folks in this country, with our Muslim neighbors. Human rights requires a dedication of equality at every intersection of life. Now, more than ever, we must have a renewed commitment to this. And like I said earlier, visibility comes with a price. And that is why tonight, as a Black trans woman, I want to ask you for your support going forward. Thank you, Miller Coors, but I want to ask those that are in this room for your support. Here is an opportunity to directly support a trans woman of color. Because when I am supported, I support an entire community. Thank you. So please, TransTech, we would love to see more donors. If there are any of you, at least 25 of you in this room that can give $1,000. Hello. I'm sitting over at table 19. My manager's over there. EJ, wave your hand, boo. Yes. I'm just saying, look, I'm taking my opportunity. Thank you so much, HRC, for this visibility and for this opportunity tonight. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.